Yeah, نشيد وطني. Please stand for the national anthem. Good evening, أهلا وسهلا فيكم. Welcome to Rotary Club Beirut Cedars. Before welcoming our guests and Rotarians, please read with me the four-way test at Rotary. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Would it bring goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I'd like to welcome Assistant Governor Toufi Aris, President Christelle Jabour, RC Beirut at Astra, Past President Rita Jebran, RC Beirut Center, Incoming President Imad Melhem, Rotary Club Met and Praxis, and Incoming President Emil Mawad. Dear Rotarians, dear friend, you're welcome. Tonight, and as usual, like it's becoming now a habit in our club, we celebrate women. Women's Day is in 2 days. It is our honor to listen to prominent people, ladies who have made a difference, who have shown achievements, have projects, entrepreneurship, but also several projects that they have followed in their lives professionally and socially. Our agenda for today welcomes 3 ladies. We'll be listening to them. Before doing that, I'd like to invite President Ramzi Abu Samah for a short word. President, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good evening all, dear Assistant Governor Toufi Aris, dear Presidents, dear Past Presidents, dear IPs, dear members of Rotary and Rotaract here present with us and on Zoom, dear distinguished guests here present with us and on Zoom. It is my great pleasure tonight to welcome you within the Women International Week to listen to the success stories of 3 distinguished speakers, Mrs. Sandra Khlat, Mrs. Satula, Mrs. Aline Kamakian, and Mrs. Nadine Panayot, who will share with us their field of activities, experiences, challenges, and successes. I am sure that we will have a very fruitful and informative session with our 3 distinguished speakers. Without further ado, I leave the floor to our SAA and Admin Chair, President Bassam Hajjar, for a few minutes to share the club's announcements before starting the presentation. Thank you.
As President Ramzi just said, I will try to not annoy you with a lot of announcements, but very quickly, this is what we do in our club and Rotary in general. When we celebrate few anniversaries, few birthdays, these are either the members or sons and daughters of members. Serena Desiree Rantous, Joe Canaan is yesterday. Our dear friend and past president Antoine Keldani on March 10, Asad Toubiya, Tariq Saadi, all these are members. Adam Marzouk, son of Rami, Camille, my daughter, on the 25th, Istanbul, going. Andrea Vantous, Carla Milki, Karim Najjar, and Maria Zawi. Happy birthday to Maria, Badr, you're online. Badr Ghazawi, member of our club, is on Zoom with us. And quickly and shortly, these are the coming events in March, the running month, and in April. So
Thank you, Ghassan.
the iftar dinner will be announced shortly. On March 27th, we have a joint meeting with the Rotary Club, Akkar, but also Lebanon Echo, Tir Europa 1, and Zghar. Past District Governor Jamil Mawad will be tackling the following topic: Rotary's impact on water, sanitation, and hygiene. At the same place, we have we'll be doing our meeting this time for iftar reasons and Ramadan earlier, a couple of hours, so it's at 5 p.m. April is the environment month, having well, only for the time being an RBM, a regular business meeting. You're welcome to join. It's on April 3rd. We are done. Again, it's at 5 p.m. up until the end of Ramadan. I'd invite Yumna, please, to come and present our first speaker, Mrs. Sandra Khlat. Yumna. Go, please.
Okay, so thank you, Mrs. Sandra Khlat, for being with us tonight. Sandra Khlat is a social activist with 20 years of experience in NGOs. She has a BS in advertising and marketing from UAG and an MBA in management from Isabel School. Also a diploma of higher education and management from CP. She worked in the banking industry for 10 years as a marketing specialist and HNY market coordinator. And finally, as a senior consultant. In 2022, she founded Basma, which we all know, with an objective to empower destitute Lebanese families and lead them to self-sufficiency. And she is now heading the organization since 2022. She developed several programs thanks to numerous collaboration with several local and international NGOs, with the public and private sector. All projects run simultaneously. To name some: the Smile Resto, offering 100,000 cooked meals per day to abandoned elderly and destitute families. The Night School program, with student rates higher rates from 98% in official exams. The employment desk training, placing 500 women yearly. The Home Sweet Home rehabilitation program that helped rebuild 500 houses and 11 buildings after the Beirut blast in the context of Beirut reconstruction project. Okay. Okay, so as a consequence of the traumas caused by the port explosion, Basma launched the Art Therapy, which is a program offering therapy through arts to children in need of psychological support. Recently, Sandra developed and launched Sarwa Project, a social and educational farm by Basma that aims to establish a socially and environmentally conscious value chain for agriculture, agritourism, and farm-to-table concept. Sandra attended many specialized trainings, among which strategic management for leaders of NGOs at Harvard University, how to manage and lead an NGO, and she's a senior trainer with NGO Management School of Switzerland, where she delivered a workshop in Libya to 150 other nonprofit NGOs. Basma won the Best Idealistic NGO Prize for Excellence in October 2015 in Women Empowerment category and the Mona Bustos Foundation as Best Humanitarian and Social Development NGO Award in 2018. She is currently married and a mother of 4 boys. So welcome.
Good evening. I'm honored to be standing here tonight to talk about my beautiful smiley path. First, I want to thank the Rotary Club Cedars Beirut and all the team members for always standing next to Basma and supporting us at many levels. I will always be thankful and grateful for all what you've done to us. On the occasion of International Women's Day, I would like to reflect on many key issues that helped me throughout my journey. But before, I would like to talk about Basma briefly. So, Basma is a humanitarian NGO founded in 2002. It's been 21 years. The context in 2002 was very difficult, but the context nowadays is catastrophic, with 80% of the Lebanese population that lives under the poverty line. So we have helped till date 700,000 people at all levels through food and hygiene packs, cooked meals, education support, night school, medical, dental, and mental health assistance, home renovations, training, and employment services, specialized programs for youth and elderly, self-development, and women empowerment programs. So we are currently helping 3,000 families in all Lebanon. In 47 villages and cities across Lebanon, and we have received many awards. Among them, the Best Idealistic NGO by Quality Systems International Paris in 2015, and Best Humanitarian NGO by Muna Boustros Foundation in 2018. So our mission is to support families and lead them to self-sufficiency. So the objective is not purely humanitarian, but it's also social development. And we do it through many different programs, through the Food for All, Education for All, Healthcare for All, Housing for All, Employment Office, Self-Development and Women Empowerment programs, specialized programs for youth and elderly, because we believe that the comprehensive approach is necessary to families so they can stand on their feet and be independent. Some figures about Basma. So, like we said, 100,000 cooked meals per year distributed, 100,000 food and hygiene items distributed per year. We have medical insurance that we give to moms, working moms, to insure them and secure them, 500 job offers per year, etc. We had families from north to south, in Bekaa and of course in Beirut. And we have developed recently Salwa, our new project. It's agrotourism project and rural development project. So we have done it in collaboration with USG, who gave us the land in Kanail, and through many different collaborations, among them collaboration with the Rotary Club Cedars Beirut. So what we have done till date is to secure the land, and the land was 20, c'est un terrain marécageux, and we needed to do a lot of work so the land could be of use. So it's been 2 years. We couldn't work during the winter season because of the rain and the snow, and we had to work during summer. And now the land is ready, but in parallel, we have worked on 2 main projects, the agriculture project, so we have now distributed till date 80 tons of legumes and vegetables to families in need, not only families from Basma, but also to other NGOs. And with the kitchen that was offered by Rotary Club Cedars Beirut, we could cook and distribute in the Kanail, Ta'alabaya, and Zahle region 750 meals in this region, and we will move forward with this project. We have created so far 5 jobs, and this will double starting of spring 2024, because we are developing many agrotourism projects for this time. Now I will reflect on many key issues that helped me throughout my journey. First, the unconditional support of genuine people from the society. Without this important support, the NGO wouldn't have made it so far. Second, the trust. In the NGO world, more than in any other domain, trust is a key word. And we are blessed in Basma who inspire trust after 21 years of humanitarian work. And our track record is clean, and this is our biggest pride. And thanks to trust, people are more willing, and institutions are more willing to donate and contribute. Third, gratitude. So many families we had are grateful that we are standing by their side. Without our support, they would have lost hope and faith in life. So they keep us in their prayers, which keep us moving forward. They give us the strength and motivation to continue. Fourth, the organization, the team, the workforce. They are on the ground. They are the helping hand. They reach out to everyone with kindness and a pure heart. The key is to find them, but the biggest challenge is to retain them. Fifth, the good governance. The executive board, the honorary board, the General Assembly help us take the wise decisions and navigate through difficulty. Sixth, strategic thinking. Questioning ourselves every year about our purposes and objectives. Help us define a strategic axis to work on and achieve beautiful impact on the ground. Seven, the challenging context. It may seem weird to say it like that, but the Lebanese socio-economic context requires the work of NGOs. Therefore, our work is valued, recognized, and needed. Therefore, institutions are more willing to collaborate for the sake of the community, which lead us to 8, partnerships. Basma has always relied on the private sector to lead beautiful initiatives to support the society. Corporations and private institutions have played a big role in our path for the sake of those who need it the most. 9, the faith. Basma is a mission nurtured and blessed by God. This is our belief. And therefore, we help everyone from all religions because this is what our religion teaches us to do. And finally, 10th, the love. Love the mission, love the team, love the families, love the challenges, love the journeys. Without this love, or should I say passion, the difficulties would have taken over and the mission wouldn't have been able to continue. To conclude, the key words are love, trust, faith, and teamwork. These are my recipe for success. I hope I am able to inspire others through my daily humanitarian work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sandra Khlat. I suggest President Ramzi was suggesting that if you might have any questions, I suggest maybe we, pack and put together all questions in a basket and throw them at the end, so that we make sure we have enough time to listen to our speakers incoming. To listen to Mrs. Aline Kamakian on the topic of catalyzing success, navigating challenges, and embracing opportunities. I'll call on Past President Hagop to present Mrs. Aline Kamakian. Hagop, you have the floor.
Thank you. Aline's bio is like 4 good slides of the screen. But basically, I'm going to tell you what Aline is. Aline is a grad in insurance initially, but because of her dad and it's not there. Because of her dad and his love to cook and whatever values he has passed to her, she has shifted in her career. Well, usually people shift, it means they leave one business, they go to another. She put 1 foot here, 1 foot there. She's a brilliant insurance broker, I think in the top 9 companies in Lebanon. At the same time, you probably all know her, even if you don't know her, because she's the owner of FIG Holding, which is the company that owns MyRig. I guess you all have heard MyRig.
And I think that one of that's involved in our club is that
it's much better after the Beirut blast, because as you know, MyRig is very close to the harbor. she had a big impact, her team had a very big impact. And actually, I think this gave her extra energy to be the super Aline that I know. I will cut it to this stage and invite you to the floor, Aline. Thank you. Would you like to have the video?
Yeah, let's do the video.
Let's do the video. Second one.
Elise, hi.
Partnering with local restaurants, World Central Kitchen, now churning out about 10,000 meals a day.
The only way to know what's going on is walking. And the only way to understand what people are going through is listening to them and watching. We don't plan, we don't meet, we start feeding. In the process of doing it, we understand the realities of the real need.
Aline's restaurant, Mayrig, is less than a quarter mile from the port.
When I saw the mushroom, I did this, and this is what saved me. Everything was broken. There was no roads. Everybody was in blood. Everybody needed help. Everybody was shouting.
Seriously injured, along with 25 of her staff, the next day they were back in the kitchen.
Okay, perfect. We're starting to cook for two reasons. One, we cannot sit and watch. Second is while giving, you're healing yourself.
That resilience, that empathy, that willingness to be there for others, it's something like, quite frankly, it's very inspiring.
This video was made because I was a speaker in Washington University of Business, and was just thank you. And this is why today, honestly, I was not prepared to do a presentation. I thought it was more of a question and answer. But for me, this is the most important phase of my life. As Agop said, basically I studied finance. But it was my father's dream to have an Armenian restaurant, small restaurant, to inform or to discover the Armenian tradition and stuff. And I lost my father, I was 17. So this is how I wanted to realize his dream. And this became my dream. But little did I know that while realizing his dream, I'm putting a bigger responsibility on myself is to spread the Armenian culture. having being a Lebanese with an Armenian origin, I think you have the two crazy DNA. Okay, one, the extreme resilience of the Armenian and extreme resilience of the Lebanese, extreme challenge versus turning the challenge into opportunity, Lebanese mentality. So I guess I'm lucky to have both. And I don't know if I'm lucky too much or not. So what happened with my league is it was a huge challenge because everybody was against me to open an Armenian restaurant. They said you have to born restaurateur. I don't know what that means, but I was a finance and I learned cooking from my mom, and it was my father's restaurant. So it was my mom's know-how and my father's dream that bring up my league. I had so many challenges. One, because we are in Lebanon. Two, because I'm a woman. And three, because already restaurant business are very challenging. It's they call it angra. You can go to any restaurant every day, everything is very nice. Once a mistake, that comes. So this challenges made me who I am today. These challenges I wanted to overcome, and I wanted to make sure that the concept, the service, and the team is well received. And despite everything in Lebanon, every turmoil, we had our shares, انفجار حرب. I was in 3 explosions, so I saw the PhD in explosions. Other than what I was in the kids, so كانت بالفينيسيا بس انفجر حريري، كانت بال تبع شو اسمه وين؟ اي سيسي وكانت the third one is the سوريس سولوغاتو كانت في قلب الانفجار. شو نسميه؟ so لانه كنت بهول الانفجارات، لانه كنت بسكوت، لانه كنت بتدرب بصليب احمر، I managed to save my team. لانه 6 of them is disabled, 6 of management. We were 29 going into hospitals. We have 7 disabled, 6 of them are the management. لانه كان عندنا مانجمنت ميتنج في المكتب، ومكتبي مثل ما شفتوا دغري بالوجه. الصوره اللي شفتوها من المانجمنت تيم اللي كانوا بالمكتب عندي، انا الفوطه اللي ظهرت لبرا لصور، كلهم عيطوا علي فوتي لجوا بالسيرفيس شيت. I was ejected, let's say, وهن جوا كلهم اخذوا الازاز. So they were all in very bad situation. Thank God طبعا بأي قوة قدرت تنزلهم كل الطوابق وصلوا على المستشفيات. They are disabled, but they are still with me and they are my partners. They became my partners. قلت لهم قلت لأنه مش بس حطوا عرق، حطوا دم. So they are shareholders very big. What I want to say is that without them, I'm nothing. Without this group and without the team behind it, I'm nothing. Without the angels اللي كانوا حد وقت الانفجار financially, morally, ورجعوا اجوا من اول نهار، لانه بعد 29 نهار فتحنا المطعم. فتحنا المطعم is a big word. فتحنا التراس، حطينا منقل برا، الرجل بتذكر اذا اجت لعندك. بس لما نقول انه نحن سكرنا، انا قلت له انه اذا بدي سكر المطعم انا قلت انا بدي سكر ولا بخليه يسكر. سو هيدي كل القوه اجت من ورا الموظفين على الانفجار. الطريقه اللي طلعوا فيها كانوا المطعمين جوال، نحن بعدنا بالدم، بس وصلنا كلهم اللي ضل اللي معي طلعوا فيي انه قولي كلمه do something. انا مش عارفه وين انا شو اسوي. So on the spot قلت ما تخافوا، it's okay، بلشوا تنطفوا يلا بدنا نلعب. crazy بس this was everything. هيدي الكلمه اللي خلصتنا كلمه، لانه كل نهار نحن عم ننظف كان حوالينا في ناس عم يطلعوا فينا انه نحن مطعم وعلى قليل يكون عندنا ساندويتش او شيء طعمه. هونيك كسرنا الابواب، حطينا طنجره، طبخنا رز على الخشب المكسور لوزعنا. هونيك بلشنا نوزع 2500 كلاب نهار. وقتها كمان اشتغلنا مع الروتري واشتغلنا مع رسمه ولنوزع الاكل. وهيدا كان ثيرابي للتيم ولعلي. Unfortunately, we have a lot of challenges. بس كمان هول التشالنجز هن اللي نحن بلبنان دائما عندنا الانتربرونيريال سبيريتس. هول التشالنجز اللي بيخلينا نحن نخترع نلاقي سولوشنز، لانه ماكسيموم اوف الاشياء اللي عملتهم هي سولوشنز على بروبلمز. منهم شيء نبت اخترعت او شيء لا، it was a solution of something ما موجوده او solution of a problem عم نعملها. So for me, Lebanon is the land of opportunity لأنه the land of challenges. بس خاصة هلا كمان عم نشوفه مع ال young generation عم أول شيء أنا بدي أتشكر كل واحد منكم اللي زي ما يليك أو كانوا معك، لأنه أنتم اللي خليتوا إنه أنا أقدر أكمل. ناس مثلكم اللي خلونا نحن نضل ونقبل، خاصة الانجلز اللي خلونا إنه نضلنا هون. But for me, it's very important to team يجي مع بعض. التيم اللي هون أول تليفون إجاني متخيل إنه أنت عندك الأمريكان باسبورت، خلص بقى إذا ثالث انفجار ثالثة سادسة اطلع. والموظفين كلهم بيلاقوا شغل، قلت لهم إيه هن بيلاقوا شغل ما في مشكلة، أنا ما بلاقيهم. For me it was إنه لأكون معهم، لا أقدر أعمل شيء معهم، لأكمل معهم. وما فيني وما بدي اترك الدين. It's against my mentality انه يعني انا اذا تركت لبنان يعني استسلمت. هيدا المنتاليتي تبعي. بحب لبنان ما بحب لبنان هيدا شيء ثاني، بس انه انا في ما بحب استسلم. سو مشان هيك عملنا مع الورد سنتر كيتشن عملنا الاكلات. بعد لليوم عم نكمل. نحن هلا كمان موجودين بالجنوب كمان عم نوزع اكل. كبرت. فتحنا باتشيك بزيتونه باي، فتحنا باتشيك ببرمينا في سيتي سنتر، وهلا عم نفتح ميريت بحمينا، وعم نفتح باتشيك بيوم. Is it logic? Is it crazy? Is it normal what we're doing? Normal, it's not normal, but for me it's the only way لا نعكس اللي عم يصير. It's challenging. أكيد عم حط إجر برا كمان لأعمل باراشوت safety measures. لا إذا لا سمح الله كمان صار شيء يمكن برا بيساعد لما نخفف الموظفين. That's the only way يعني الباراشوت. For me كمان إنه being together, being مع التيم one هن يساعدوني وأنا ساعدهم. It's not about me, it's about the team. And it's about what do we want. And what I want is to be happy, to be enjoying myself, and to be healthy. فصار إجا وراح مثل ما إجا مثل ما راح. ودايما بقول أوغست 4 علمني شغلتين كثير مهمين. أول شيء شفت جيمناستي، شفت مين معي مين ضدي، مين عن جد بيحبني مين لا. ثاني شيء for the first time أنا كنت بالميل الثاني. كنت دايما بكل الوقت اللي كنت عم بشتغل كنت donor, investor, helper. هالمرة I was receiving. I needed help. I needed money. I needed every single penny. لا أقدر أرجع أوقف على رجلي، لا أرجع موظفين يرجعوا يقدروا يوقفوا. And being in the second part is completely different than the first one. وهيدا مع الأسف إنه تعلمتها من 4 of August، بس اليوم فيني أقول إنه أنا مبسوطة إنه تعلمت. On that time أقول ليش أنا. بس اليوم my life completely changed because of this situation. And my way of dealing مع الناس، مع partners، مع finance، مع the needed people صار completely different. And I hope I can show this and I can lead this and I can be a role model for the young generation. And this is where I'm going. Thank you for your time and thank you for.
Thank you, Ms. Aline Kamakian. It's crazy. It's beautiful.
Those are the pages that we skipped reading.
Okay, so now another daring lady, another beautiful story, another challenge. A transition is made with the infamous August 4 catastrophe. And we will listen now. Let me introduce you. I have the pleasure to introduce Mrs. Nadine Panayot Haroun. This lady holds a doctorate in classical Mediterranean archaeology from Paris 1, La Sorbonne. She currently serves as the curator of the American University of Beirut's Archaeological Museum and is associate professor of practice at the Department of History and Archaeology. Following the Port of Beirut explosion in 2020, she successfully led the restoration of the archaeological glass collection in collaboration with international teams. She co-won the runner-up prize of the 2023 Nigel Williams Conservation Award. Previously, she was the director of the University of Balaman's Archaeology and Museology Department and the founder and chairperson of the Master's Program in Museum Studies and Cultural Heritage Management. She also co-founded and curated the Ethnographic Museum from 2009 to 2020, with involvement in Near East archaeological excavations since 1992. She advocates for a holistic approach for natural and cultural heritage conservation, emphasizing their link to human dignity and well-being. She has recently been receiving the insignia of Knight of Arts and Letters by the French Ministry of Culture in recognition of her significant contributions and commitment to the arts, heritage, conservation, and promotion. Mrs. Nadine Panayot Haroun, the floor is yours.
Well, Anna, I need a minute to swap the slides. Meanwhile, allow me to break the protocol. Maybe Mike, the husband, would like to add something on the bio.
Mike, a speech. He is slightly hard, it's not her.
I'm just gonna say one word. Nadine, my wife, for the past 28 years, followed the Iron Lady. And believe me, she didn't do this.
Nadine, can you try the clicker, please?
Yeah. There is a chance that I could use actually sit there or not. So I have a presenter's viewer if I could. If not, then I'll just do it.
Yeah, you can come here if you want. Yes.
Would you allow me, President,
Of course.
to sit over there? Thank you.
So, but
Nobody's about the clicker.
rather feel this issue. So it's this one, this.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, President, and thank you for Rotary Cedars for inviting me. I didn't expect either to be talking. So I decided I will definitely not be talking about myself. I don't recognize Women's Day. I recognize Women's Rights Day, at least in this part of the world. And I decided just to tell you a tale, a very short tale from the Archaeological Museum. And then if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So I'll begin by introducing you to the American University of Beirut's Archaeological Museum. Then I'll tell you the story of these shattered and no longer shattered, but restored glass vessels, which despite their insignificance, reflect the story of human commitment, of as well, sorry. Perseverance and solidarity. By the end of my presentation, I hope to have demonstrated how museums are not just repositories of art and history, or cemeteries in this case, but places that actually generate well-being par excellence. So the AUB Archaeological Museum is the third oldest regional museum of the Near East, after Cairo and Constantinople. I actually found out when I took over in 2020 that even the Harvard Museum of the Ancient Near East bought its first nucleus of a collection from our collections. It grew around a nucleus of 135 only Cypriot artifacts that were donated by Luigi Palma di Cesnola, who was the American Council of Cyprus, who wanted just to donate some objects to another American institution, which was back then called the American Protestant College before becoming the American University of Beirut. And so he donated these 135 objects. Just to give you an idea, this same gentleman who was a diplomat, and diplomats of the 19th century and 18th century were actually more treasure hunters than diplomats. And so he ended up excavating in Cyprus so much and so many objects that when he left, and when he stepped down from diplomacy, he went on to become, he sold 33,000 objects to what became the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And he became for 30 years the first curator of the Metropolitan Museum. From there, 6,000 objects were sold to what became the Stanford University, the Stanford Museum, and from there to other museums in the States. So this gives you a little bit of a benchmark for what we are, who we are, and what's our purpose from there. So I'll skip. I think it's hosted in a beautiful historical building from 1902, which is called the Post Hall. It's in the upper campus at AUB. It's open the whole week. It's the only museum that never shut down during the entire war, and that has stayed active. Many people don't know it. I invite you to visit it because it's really a gem, actually. And as I said, it's totally free. It's one of the museums that are totally free. And the only thing is that we shut down during the weekends because it's a university museum. So this is how spotless my predecessor, Dr. Layla Badr, was hoping to turn the museum to me when she stepped down in June 2020. I knew that I was going to become the next curator in September when my previous contract ended at the University of Balaman. So this is how spotless. She had renovated it in 2006. And this is how I took over in September 2020. Now, in the meantime, even the doors, now everybody knows that the Sursok Museum had been affected. Nobody knew that actually the Archaeological Museum at the UB had been so badly hurt. And so we lost 17 windows, huge windows. We're talking 10 meters height. And the doors of the museum, which are made out of wood, massive wood, they all were blasted, gone into pieces. And, so this was in August, and I was not yet the curator. I knew I was going to take over, but I was not yet the director. And there was this void because Layla had stepped down early July, and the explosion happened in August. So there was no executive management. And but like everyone else, my daughters were picking up the debris in the streets. They were distributing with Rotary and other NGOs food and water. And I went to my ex-students who had earned their degree in museum studies, and I asked them if they wanted to join me to create a crisis management cell. And they said yes. And so we did a tour because I told them you have a know-how that others don't have, which is managing collections. We're not going to pick up stones and rubble. Others can do that, but you can at least save the collections. So we went around all the museums. Turned out that 8 museums had been hurt in Beirut, but we found out afterwards that only 2 of them had losses in their collections. And these were the Sursok Museum and the AUB Museum. And after doing the inventory and working throughout the months of August with the Sursok Museum, it turns out after the tally that they had 55 losses, whereas as I was walking into the AUB Museum, I found out that we lost 1 showcase and that's the one that you see on the right. This is underneath the showcase. It fell face down onto the marble floor, and in it, we had 74 archaeological glass artifacts dating back to the Roman, Byzantine, and Islamic period. And so this was a major loss. So 74 versus 55, but we're not talking numbers, who cares? It's just the fact that this was a major loss. And like Aline, I reacted, I was really, really pissed because in my mind, these objects had survived. I mean, this is a 19th century museum. We've had these collections way before the fabrication of the state of Lebanon, way before the Grand Liban. So these objects had been staying in our collections since the 1800s. And they survived First World War, the Second World War. They survived the earthquakes. They survived all the wars of Lebanon. They survived a direct hit at the museum during the wars. And they are so fragile. And they were just gone like this with one blast due to what? Corruption? Laissez aller? What are we going to call it? So I was really, really pissed. And you don't want to see me pissed, right? Funny? Joking. No, but I mean, so as we were helping the Sursuk Museum, I started contacting my friends abroad, and I talked to the Institut National du Patrimoine in Paris, which is like une grande école of conservation. And I told them, can you just send us at least material? Because we're not accounting as well for the crisis, the financial crisis, and we couldn't access our own funds. Even if I wanted to buy stuff, I couldn't access my own private funds. So can you just send us, with the French diplomats, some material to pick up archaeological material, acid-free paper, gloves, this kind of stuff, basic stuff. And they said, let's see what we can do. I was contacted in the meantime also by the British Museum asking if they could help, but they were not allowed to travel to Lebanon. And so communications, we were discussing here and there. Of course, archaeological material is not a priority. Of course not. Human lives and the whole country is a priority. But each one, and I was always saying, why am I not a doctor? So I could help, but I'm not. I'm not a medical doctor. So I tried my best with what I had. And so what you see here, this is me and the team picking up the stuff that we saw. And believe it or not, I took over on September 1st. And this was our first mission. September 4, we received the ENP not only sent us the material, but they sent an expert of glass restoration. Her name is Claire Kiobert. She's there on all four on the right picture. And under her guidance, we removed that showcase. I had made an executive decision without having the executive power to keep that showcase on top of the broken glass for the whole month of August. This was, I took a chance, but it turned out to be, it had been the best decision I had made, because when we removed the showcase and she looked at the disaster that you see right here on the left side at the bottom, this is how the mixed debris were. So we had the debris from the glass, from the showcase, from the shelves, and from the window. So we were swimming literally in a sea of glass. And we're talking thousands of glass shards, not just hundreds. And so under her guidance, she divided the floor like if we were on an excavation field. She divided the floor, and we started not knowing what we were doing or where we were going with that, because someone else would have just, with a broom, picked up the whole thing and threw them. So we decided to just, do it systematically. And believe it or not, by doing so, by channeling all these energies, and I'm dealing with a new team. I just became their director and I don't know them. But by channeling their energies and their frustration and their anger towards just doing something repetitive without knowing, it became a healing process for all of us, especially that the communication office, who had a brilliant gentleman on top of it back then, with 25 years of experience with BBC, had the idea of coming and filming us and broadcasting live on Facebook. So again, people were watching us without us knowing. And we were doing this stuff, and the messages of solidarity and support were so amazing that, again, this contributed to this healing process. And eventually, so this was the first mission. We just removed everything. We created a studio, a workshop inside the museum where we started picking up the stuff, just puzzling, just, you know, sifting through these thousands of shards and trying to box every shard with its original picture from our inventory. We did what we could. And then after they left, for 9 months, the team and the volunteers working with me continued what we call the puzzling phase, meaning sifting through thousands and thousands of shards until we were able to really identify pieces that could, you know, be put back together. And this was the second mission. Again, that lady came back in the following summer after 9 months with another intern from ENP, and together they were able, you can see her up there, restore 12 pieces. We thought everything was going to go, you know, to trash. And because I was very still frustrated and pissed, so I decided not to throw anything, but to keep this stuff. And I made a call to my other faculty colleagues, and I asked all the departments if they wanted to contribute in any way, and we started brainstorming. And so I received this call from the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture, a colleague who specializes in digital, you know, technologies. And together we started, his name is Professor Daniel Asmar, and together we started imagining how we could restore and renovate virtually the broken pieces. And believe it or not, what you see up there are the pieces in the middle that we did a photogrammetry on them, we scanned them, and then his students, they tried to do what you see in the middle up is a virtual reconstruction of the piece that you see on the left side. And at the bottom, you see a 3D print of that same jar that was broken. And up on the right side, what you see is actually we sent our CD scans to New York. And over there, they did a print in a crystal. You see the crystal where they cut off in 2D the exact replica of one of our glass. And with that, I sent a QR code telling the whole story. And what you see at the bottom is President Fadl Khouri giving a speech at our fundraiser in New York, where on each table, they had this, as a center table, they had that piece instead of having flower bouquets. And they raised so many funds to AUB based on our story. And another also collaboration happened with the physics department, where we decided to take advantage of those fragmented pieces that we could not piece back together and use them for science, to advance science and you know, in our archaeological knowledge of these ancient artifacts, which most of them we didn't have their provenance or their provenience. And so we decided to study and analyze the fragments to look at the provenance of the glass. And here we're running XRF analysis, which is non-invasive on these fragments. And it's a very long term. And all these academic, you know, initiatives basically finally crystallized in 2022 with a symposium, an international symposium called Through Shattered Glass, where we looked at archaeology, typology of glass, glass restoration, material science of glass, and computer vision and glass reconstruction. Finally, out of the blue, because we were having all these ongoing conversations and because they were shooting us, and this is the importance of communication, this gentleman that you see up there, he just happened to be the chief emeritus conservator who had just retired from the Corning Museum of Glass in New York as the chief conservator. And he called me one day out of the blue and he says, "Do you need help?" I said, "Of course. I mean, we study in his books." Of course I do, but unfortunately, I don't have a penny to send you and have you, fly over to Lebanon. He said, "I don't want anything. I just want to help." I said, "You're welcome." So he joined us for 2-3 weeks. We have an anonymous donor who received him, hosted him. And so basically for 2-3 weeks, he taught a course to all the Lebanese students from the Lebanese University, AUB, and all around Lebanon for free. He participated in our workshop, in our international workshop, and with the French lady, they both renovated 6 pieces. So 12 and 6, that's 18 pieces, 20 pieces, no, yeah. Yes, 18 pieces. And so in the meantime, the British Museum made his offer after a year and a half of, discussing with them. They said, well, we cannot come to help you, but we can take 8 pieces to be restored at the British Museum. And that was the third collaboration. And as they were here, of course, our prime mission is to really help and cater for children and help them understand their heritage and claim their own heritage. So we benefited from their presence and we organized one of our children's programs. Sorry, we need to share the screen with the Zoom attendees. Okay, so this was the 5th mission. So the British Museum not only took 8 pieces from, it's not moving anymore. Okay, so the British Museum received Aimée Bourrezet at the bottom next to Claire. She's one of the museum assistants. For 3 months, they hosted her, and this is where she learned about best practice and conservation. And the British Museum ended up hiring Claire Kiobert. Everybody said, you're crazy, you're building, collaboration between the British and the French. I said, why not? For heritage, everything can be done. And they ended up subcontracting the French lady to accompany the glass, and she's the one who did the actual conservation on the glass at the British Museum under the supervision of their chief restorer, Dwigu. And so this is how we sent our pieces, each fragment wrapped up, and they arrived there and they were restored. Okay, this is Dwigu Karamoglu. She's the one who was supervising the work of Claire, and with them we were able to restore 8 pieces. And finally, they invited me to co-curate an exhibition at the British Museum. They gave us a room called Room 3, which is at the entrance of the British Museum, and we exhibited our 8 pieces, which are renovated, that you see in the showcase. And we did several videos, and believe it or not, after 3 months of exhibiting at the British Museum, the analytics of the BM came back saying that we broke the record, for the number of visitors in the history of the British Museum for this Room 3. Thank you. So at the end, but that's not what is important. What is important is the movie I made with my husband at Studio Haroun to actually thank all our collaborators.
As artifacts, you tell stories, banquets during the Roman period, faith during the Byzantine period.
We can, if you want, show it on the movie directly, and maybe. Non, c'est bon, c'est pas grave. Il y aura juste. Merci. Tout est sur la vidéo.
Artifacts, you tell stories, banquets during the Roman period, faith during the Byzantine period, and light during the Islamic periods. They told stories of music, poetry, and theater being recited, and beauty celebrated. They told stories of human genius through education and culture. They survived civilizations that used them with respect. They survived earthquakes, tsunamis, and wars for over 2,000 years, recounting our roots and origins. Until August 4, 2020, when they rolled on, shattered in thousands of pieces, like our hearts and souls. But 3 years later, we bring them back to life again. What seemed like an impossible task was made possible by painstakingly sifting through thousands of glass shards, sorted, forensically identified, and recovered with hard work, perseverance, dedication, and above all, teamwork. Breathless, exhausted, and crippled, they stand tall again, head high. Their scars will tell new stories. They will tell stories of the deceased, the injured, the orphans, the homeless. They will tell a story of greed, ignorance, arrogance, corruption, and cynicism. They will bear witness to the guilt of the COVID atrocity, and they will keep telling that story for another 2,000 years if necessary, until they are held accountable. You simply mourn, forget, or forgive until such a date. Mankind has acquired the skill to destroy in a fraction of a second what took them years to build or accomplish. In a broken city, repeatedly injured, each one struggles to emerge from his fractured life and in his own unique way seeks to transcend chaos and collapse, to start again, rising from his own shattered past into his present. There was kindness and empathy, a phone call. With it came hope. From this first communication, brilliant collaborative work would evolve. Hence, out of these thousands of minute shards, thanks to dialogue and outstanding teamwork, came repair and restitution, drawn from human care and solidarity. Communication generated further knowledge, and with it came a completely unexpected bond to our hearts. We will also tell our stories, the story of our resistance to betrayal, to the manipulation of the Lebanese children, women, and men, making them believe that the demons were outside when they had always been amongst us. Our rebellion against the internal ailments, knowing and eating away our country. The story of our determination to uphold education, culture, and heritage as the main assets of the Lebanese people, to consider knowledge as the only sacred duty of growing generations. It is through the pursuit of education that we strive to secure our right to dignity, to live freely, to live fully, without being used as seeds of hatred and mistrust. The story of our unwavering commitment to take a leap of faith beyond hate, fear, and despair, and pursue a journey of commitment, perseverance, and repair, one broken piece at a time.
Thank you, Nadine. I think the last words we've just listened to and heard expresses it all. Actually, it's about hard work. It's about perseverance. It's about faith. It's also about giving a lot of hope. Thank you very much. I think we can give another big round of applause to that. We now block our meeting as short as possible. No more happy birthdays.
It's on the slide.
Question per speaker, if you have any. Otherwise, President Ramsey Abdulsamah will be handing the certificate to each of our outstanding speakers. And we will have a group photo. Any questions?
Now, I want to ask Sandra about the project Cyber, where we stand today. What phase?
We are optimizing the agriculture project, and we are transforming the kitchen into also a social enterprise that will help us become self-sustainable and develop further the projects with training farmers and infrastructure.
In terms of phases.
We are starting the phase.
Out of
3 phases.
3 phases. Excellent.
Joe?
J'aurais posé une question, Nadine. Quels sont les produits que vous utilisez pour recoller le veuvage?
Non, pas du tout. C'est un produit, we call it B72. C'est un produit qu'on mélange, c'est une poudre qu'on ramène, qu'on mélange, qui est réversible. Dans les nouvelles méthodes de conservation, on n'utilise pas quelque chose qui puisse être irréversible avec de l'eau. Donc, c'est quelque chose de très safe et de très, voilà. These are the principles of.
C'est assez solide. C'est assez solide.
C'est assez solide, oui, c'est durable et c'est solide. C'est
Certificate time. Anne-Marie?
On peut juste demander à l'administration comment on peut avoir la vidéo. Est-ce que c'est sur le site de la
Oui, c'est sur le site de notre du AUB Archaeological Museum sur Instagram, mais aussi ça a beaucoup circulé parce que la première vidéo, I released it on purpose on August 4, 2021. And so it circulated, it toured the world, it went to the States and back. We can always circulate. Yeah, we can.
Who will produce it?
Okay.
Thank you, dear speakers, for this very interesting presentations. And allow me now to introduce certificate of accreditation. I start with you, Sandra. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Aline.
فيك تدق الجرس بس تتذكر اجتماع. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody on Zoom.